foggy morning this morning, so no cool sunrise shots of Fuji, but it is back there, I swear. See, there it is. I headed back today and actually stopped at this small town called Nishikatsumura. It's only a few stops down from Fujikawa Guchiko, but I stopped here to get like a drink and go to the bathroom because I underestimated the 3-hour trip back to Tokyo. It's actually pretty cool. It was 30 minutes between trains, so I got a good view of it, but I like the relaxing atmosphere by the station. Getting to Tokyo, I stopped at my Airbnb, which was this cool cat-themed Airbnb. There's actually a cat shrine right outside that offended a couple times when I was walking back. There'd be tour groups there, but there's all this cat-themed stuff. A lot of signs saying, please don't come in, this is an inn. But it was really cool having all the cat stuff there. There's a couple cats that lived upstairs. It's an old Showa-era house, so it's pretty small, pretty cramped. This is a hallway back to my room. I didn't realize this was also part of my room, so I didn't have the light on or anything. It's not huge, but it's actually pretty cool to I'll say pretty cozy. You got the big open window and the big open kind of porch outside that we'll go to in a second. But it's a nice old house. The porch was actually super relaxing. You could go out, you could hear the street walk by. It's in a quiet part of Tokyo. More cat themed stuff. Hopefully there were no German tour groups outside trying to get pictures of the cat shrine. But yeah, really enjoyed chilling out on the porch. Alright, so in almost exactly 48 hours, I'll be leaving from Haneda Airport, flying home. So, last 2 days, basically the last day and a half, I've dedicated to this is when I'm supposed to buy stuff. I'm only 15 minutes from Akihabara, another 20 minutes from Ikebukuro. Gonna see some cool stuff there, but I've put off buying a lot so I could buy it here. So that's my goal for the next day and a half, for the rest of this video, is to find stuff. What am I looking for? In terms of new stuff, I saw some Undead Unluck figures that I'm looking to get. I want to get some Shangri-La Frontier stuff. Basically anything from anime that's came out recently. In terms of used stuff, hoping to find something cool. I'm going to be throwing 5 yen coins into every shrine I come across between here and Akihabara for good luck. There were no shrines. It was one train stop away. Maybe if I walked there, it would have been shrines. This trip was mostly about getting prices and stuff and comparing stuff. One place I really want to stop at was Radio Kaikan, a famous kind of anime store or anime building in Akihabara. Also got to see it at night, which is pretty cool. Also apparently love these panning shots because you just saw 3 of them. The next morning, though, since nothing really opens until 10 or 11, I decided to make a trip to the Ueno Zoo. On my way, I saw this kind of pool filled with cherry blossoms, the ultimate symbolism for the end of my trip. But the Ueno Zoo is the biggest zoo in Japan. It's pretty cool. It's right in Tokyo. It's also got these tickets with different animals. I got guinea pigs. Also, it was only $4 to go there. There's a huge line, and that is for the famous pandas. They said the line would take about 30 minutes. Ended up only taking 20 minutes, which wasn't too bad. Gotta love that exchange rate. It's kind of funny seeing the people around it because it had its own culture of people who come to take pictures of the pandas. You'd see them saying hi to each other in line. People would just here all the time getting panda pictures. There was also 3 other pandas that you get pictures of, but I didn't want to wait in 3 more 20-minute lines. It also gave you good views while you're in line, and you get 3 staging areas. You get a minute each to look at the panda unencumbered to get your picture. This is the second stage. This is the third stage where you're slightly further away, but you still get pretty unencumbered shots of the panda. I really like how they handled this. Usually I don't like lining up for anything, but I think this was the best case scenario so people aren't bogarting the pandas. And because the pandas were bringing up all the crowds, you got perfect views of everything else. Here are some penguins. Here they are jumping in for a little swim. You also got a great look at the hippos. I go to the Cincinnati Zoo sometimes, and it's really difficult to see the hippos, especially to see the baby hippos. Look at it sitting out in the sun. You can barely see these guys in Cincinnati, but look at its cute little sleepy face. Ah, it's so adorable. Also, you got this rhino here playing with its enrichment. I feel like zoos and aquariums in Japan do a great job of making sure the animals have enrichment, so they're doing stuff for the for the customers. There's a show called Polar Bear Cafe, and there's a character in it named Panda who works part-time at the zoo. And whenever it's like doing something like playing with enrichment, it's always like service, service. So like every time I see like an animal doing something at the zoo, I'm like, oh my god, it's providing service. Here's a little red panda running about. It's right next to the other pandas, so it's unfortunately doesn't get huge crowds like other zoos. Also, here's the polar bear. I really love the polar bears here because they got tons of stuff. You see them running around. You also get a great job of like getting views. Some zoos are kind of cramped, but this one gives tons of space so you can get lots of different views of the animal. Here's the kind of water polar bear exhibit. I missed it diving down completely, but there you see it take off underwater. Here is the Hokkaido brown bear trying to get something out of this kind of puzzle bowl. It's pretty cool. Like they had a few pigeons running around. I guess they're just not scared of the bears. Here's an Asian black bear. Much nicer seeing it here than in the mountains of Yamanashi the other day. It's actually pretty cute sleeping there. Here are the snow monkeys that I could not see in Arashiyama or go to Nagano to see in the hot springs. This otter box, it's basically attached to the otter exhibit. They connect through the pipe and it can come out and you can kind of, everyone gets a good look at the otters kind of with the exhibit. Also, you got this tiger here and it looks pretty close there, but zoom out and actually, oh, it's pretty far away. Hard to see in person without the camera. Also, here are these tapirs that were just kind of lying out sleeping. Guess they partied too hard in Fujiyoshida the other night. Next, I went to Ikebukuro. Ikebukuro has this famous owl statue because Bukuro and owl in Japanese means Fukuro. Here's it just outside the station. It's a really cool place to visit. There's a bunch of anime stores here that I want to check out, like the main store of Lashing Bang. There's a bunch of cool, kind of obscure anime stuff here. Also went to the main store of Animate, just like half a block away. 8 stores of anime goods, and I probably spent too much money. I also saw this Dangers in My Heart kind of sign. I want to know what it was for. It was for a blood drive. So they have Anime X blood drive cross promotions in Japan. Next, they saw this new owl statue. This one's the new giant Pokemon store, the biggest Pokemon store in Japan. It's in Sunshine City, which is another huge kind of mall thing in Ikebukuro. It had a bunch of displays, probably more displays than any other ones. There was also like an idol concert happening in like the center area of the mall that I couldn't get video of because, you know, put tons of signs like no pictures, no videos, but tons of pictures of the Pokemon. It also had these cool kind of like things around the back, these murals that I thought were pretty nice. Here's one of my favorites with Eevee and all the evolutions. Here's another one with all the dragons and Metagross, honorary dragon, I guess. There's also a Pokemon Go specific store. I didn't know what they were doing, and they sold some plushes. It was also right next to the Pokemon store that had stuff. But it had these figures that a lot of people were getting pictures of. Next, I made my way back to Akihabara, and you know that means more panning shots of Akihabara. I did take a couple of minutes to go like through some of the like tunnels under the train station. This is what Akihabara's kind of like famous for, these kind of electronics and like little shops run by people. But I made my way back to Radio Kaikon specifically to go to this store, which is A Stop. We went to A Stop in one of the earlier videos. That one's in Akiba Culture Zone. Here I am with too much stuff and heading back to the Akiba Culture Zone A Stop because I needed to get more shots of stuff from Oshinoko. I just like kind of the vibe of like anime stuff everywhere. I know people talk about Akihabara being overhyped, but I just like the vibe of it. After dropping my stuff off, I took a trip out. This is here in around Nezu Station. This station is actually right by Tokyo University, so there's a big College of Athens mural in the station. But I'm heading here to Bunkyo City, specifically to go to the Bunkyo Civic Center. Here it is, and up to that observation deck, kind of where it sticks out. This observation deck is really cool, because you're kind of like right in the middle of a busy district, but it's also completely free. There's Skytree in the background. Here's another one where I'm going to pan around and see kind of like what the inside of the observation deck looks like. There were some people there. It wasn't super busy. Here's a cool, I think this is looking towards kind of Shibuya or Shinjuku. I got my geography mixed up. Nice shots of stuff rolling down the street. I actually ended up spending a lot of time here, probably more than I should have. I think I was there longer than anybody else. Because this ended up being kind of nostalgic's the wrong word, fairly melancholy. Because this is the last thing I was going to do, the last thing I had planned for Japan. And oddly enough, these videos of like Tokyo skylines. Like the background of my laptops are all like Tokyo skylines at dusk and at night. I have a poster in my room of like Tokyo skyline at dusk. So just kind of like taking it all in as like this is the last thing I get to do in Tokyo. It was pretty cool, but also fairly sad that I wasn't going to have another adventure tomorrow morning, or at least another adventure that I'd like. Also, I want to get one last dinner, so this is katsu curry, and there's cheese in it. I didn't see a non-cheese option, but it was pretty delicious. And on the way back, I actually got to see the very top of Tokyo Tower walking back to my Airbnb. So that's nice. And that was the day. I'm trying to get some of the cool background stuff behind me. I really like this apartment Airbnb space. I just think it's really cool. I'm slightly too big for it. Like, I fit the bed fine and I fit the room fine, but everything's like pretty cramped, and it's gonna be a pain in the ass getting the suitcases down the stairs tomorrow. And also, it's on like a hill, which isn't too bad because it's like halfway up the hill, so like walking up is fine. But the station I'm going to get to Haneda tomorrow is like you got to go all the way up the hill, and boy, am I not looking forward to trudging two suitcases through Tokyo. But it'll be fine, probably, maybe. I mentioned it like overlooking that it is kind of that like now end of the trip sadness. Like once I got back to Tokyo, there was this kind of like, or leaving the campground, this kind of like melancholy nature of like, oh, it's almost over. But I realized like walking back that like the reason it never really got to me too bad before, because there was always another thing to do, another adventure to go on, and now nothing left but trudging my suitcases, a 13-hour flight, and a 9-hour layover. But I do want to do like a full, not a full recap, just a recap video of goodbye to the trip. But want to make sure I got this in while I was still here in Tokyo on my last day. So until the next time, bye.